Yo, yo! What is crack-a-lackin'? Jacob here from Sensify, and really quick, I want to share with you a real-life story of something that happened to me today that exemplifies living on purpose on the micro level. So today, I took my dad to physical therapy. He recently had, a hip operation and, was being the good son, helping out and showing support and love. And in order to do this, I no longer have a car, so I had to go out and borrow my brother-in-law's car. So I pick up the car, pick up my dad, and we're cruising along, and we get to where we need to go, and I drop my dad off in front, and I see a parking space right in front. So boom, no problem. Park the car, take out my laptop, and I start doing some work, and while I'm waiting for my dad, I'm networking with some people about the Living on Purpose official launch, and I'm just doing my damn thing, hanging out, getting the job done. My dad comes out about an hour later, and we're about to bounce, we're about to leave, and, I put the car, it's an SUV, so I put the SUV in reverse, and I'm backing up, right? Although it's not making that noise, but mentally it's making that noise. And all of a sudden I hear, and I'm like, what the fuck was that, right? So then all of a sudden I remembered, since I'd been there for the last hour, I had forgotten, but there was a little Vespa parked right behind me. But since I'm in the SUV and I look through the rear view mirror and the Vespa is like the little thing and the SUV is the big thing, I don't see anything. So I freaking back up right into the Vespa, boom, knock it flat on the floor. Just happened today, right? Like 3 hours ago. I just walked in, sweating bullets over here. It just happened, right? So boom, all of a sudden my reaction is, let's jump out, let's take a look at this thing, let's just see what happened, right? Shit! So I jump out, and if you can imagine, we're parked in like the block of a hospital, so it's like people are just lined up outside, right? And now everyone's like, oh, did you see that dick nose that just freaking hit the Vespa and knocked it down? So I'm like, shit. So now everyone's watching, people are like, dick, cracking jokes, and I'm figuring out what the hell to do. So the first thing I think is pick the damn thing up off the floor. So I picked the Vespa up, but it's been a long time since I've had a motorcycle, and I'm trying to figure out how to keep it up, you know what I'm saying, without it tilting over one way or another. So that takes me another minute to realize you need to put your foot on the kickstand and then jerk it backwards. And now I'm seeing if there's any damage, and there's a little bit of scratches on both sides. Now some of the scratches looked a little rusty. I don't know if I did those. I don't know if that just happened. I mean, it wasn't a 2012 Vespa. The thing looked like it was 10 years old. But still, I'm like shit. So I get in the car and I go to get a piece of paper to write my information down, and now I'm starting to think. On one hand, I'm like, damn, I don't know, did I do that damage to it? I don't know. And on the other hand, I'm like, even if I did, it's not my car, so I don't want to get my brother-in-law in trouble, and if this guy goes through insurance anyway, there's really he's not going to benefit at all by me leaving my information for him. Everyone's looking, and I'm like, shit, and a voice inside of me tells me, leave, just bounce, just go. So I'm under pressure, I'm not really thinking clearly, and I'm like, alright, you know what, I'm like, it's really the same either way for this guy, whether I pick this thing up, it still looks alright, it's not total, there's a little bit of scratches on it. So I'm like, alright, let me go. So I start driving, and I know inside this is the wrong thing to do, but I do it anyway. I know it's the wrong thing to do. And I get about 3 blocks, and I can't go any further because I still need to think, what do I do? Perfect example of living on purpose. Knowing what your values are, my values were justice and truth. They are justice and truth and warmth and doing the right fucking thing, right? And actually what you're doing, driving away after you just knocked this guy's Vespa down, even though it wasn't a real parking spot, and insurance probably is, not going to be any worse for him whether I leave my information or not, and my brother-in-law's thing might go up, and it would cost me a full week's worth of income in order to pay for this damn thing, right? All those things, but I still know it's the wrong freaking thing to do. So I pull over, and I'm literally sitting there for minutes now, 2-3 minutes, deciding, I know it's the wrong thing to do, I know it's the wrong thing to do, I know it's the wrong thing to do. So what do? And I'm not in the clearest mind state, but now I'm thinking, living on purpose. Are you going to exemplify this, or are you just going to write about it and talk shit about it? So, and this is what's going on inside the madman's mind, right? So I'm like, boom. I'm like, screw it, I gotta go back. So I go back, and now there's like vigilante civilians who are like coming up to me and like, we saw what you did. We're like, there was 3 of us. And I'm like, all right, lady, congratulations. There were 6 eyes. Like, you know, I didn't want to be like a dick, but at the same time, like, you know, I felt a little under attack and whatever. So anyway, moral of the story is I leave my information for the guy and he still hasn't called me yet. But that is living on purpose on a micro level, knowing what you stand for and then being in integrity with that, right? And here's the big key is stepping in between the stimulus, what happens, what's occurring, and your reaction to it. So that was a very automatic, fear-filled reaction. I got up, I took a quick look and I left, right? I was fear-filled. It wasn't my highest self operating. But I pulled over, I was able to stop what I was doing, I was able to pull over to the side of the road and say, hey, wait a second, step in between the stimulus and my response and choose that middle piece, right? That middle piece, what do I want that to be? And then how do I want to respond to it? In the future, I'd prefer not to pull away at all, right? Just do the right thing from the get-go. But hey, we're all growing, we're all learning, and we're all striving to be better. So that's the moral of the story is, you know, living in integrity with what you value on a day-to-day level. And now I'm here and I've alchemized that situation to make a positive spin on it and actually record a video and share it. And maybe, you know, some good will come out of this in your life or in my life again. And I feel a lot better today, even though this quote-unquote bad thing happened today, than I did yesterday, because today I was in integrity with my values, and yesterday I sat home all day, you know, and I wanted to get work done, but I was, you know, eating the sweet potatoes and the peanut butter and taking naps and just jerking around and being this and that and whatever. I didn't get, you know, what I wanted to get done. So, boom, long story short, integrity with values. And that is it, my friend. Hope you get something from that. Living on Purpose, August 30th, doing the right thing. Talk to you soon. Peace!